Hey guys, today we're going to take it up a notch and we're still working in the same packet from yesterday, but we are going to be writing explicit rules from an arithmetic sequence. So that's our objective. How do we write an explicit rule given an arithmetic sequence? So right now I'm just going to ask you to take out packet 11 again and turn to page 6. And today we're going to use this sequence to write a function rule that will represent all the terms in the sequence. And this is something we call an explicit rule. Before we start, let's just look back at all the rules we've been working with all year. So back in the beginning of the year, we worked with equations of lines. And they look something like that. That was a rule that told us a certain input has a specific output, and each of those inputs and outputs formed a line. And that was the rule for an equation of a line. Then we went and worked with functions, and they look something like this. F of x equals 2x plus 3, or f of n equals 2n plus 3, but they all meant the same thing. So what we're going to do today is we're going to write explicit rules. Now they're going to mean the same exact thing, except for they're going to look a little different. And in this particular case, they're going to have a sub n equals 2n plus 3. So all that does, it just generates all the terms in a sequence, just like we did with a line or a function, but it's just notated a little different. They also refer to this as the equation for the nth term. That's another way they might refer to it. So if they ask you, would you to write an explicit rule or an equation for the nth term, they all mean the same thing. But this is a little easier than writing in the equation of a line because we have a formula to use. So just remember, y equals 2x plus 3, f of x equals 2x plus 3, f of n equals 2n plus 3, and a sub n equals 2n plus 3. They all mean the same thing. They just look a little different. So this is how algebra and functions are all related. It just looks a little different. All right, so what we're going to flip to page 6 in this packet, where this is what the packet page looks like. So please turn there. And when you take that out, we're going to look at this. These are the instructions on the page. It says we use the formula of an arithmetic sequence to generate an equation that can be used to find any term in an arithmetic sequence. And we refer to this as the equation for the nth term or the explicit rule. And now underneath it, it says steps to writing the general equation of an arithmetic sequence for the nth term. So what we're going to do is, in order to do this, we first write down the formula. Then we find our a sub 1 and our d. A sub 1, remember, means first term. D is our common difference. Now, some of you are confused with the common difference can be a positive or a negative number, depending upon if the sequence is increasing or decreasing. So please make sure you take note of that. Once you're done, you're going to fill it into the formula. And then lastly, step 4 will be to simplify. And simplifying just means we're going to need to distribute and combine like terms. So make sure that when you go to step 4, you remember we have to do those 2 steps. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on this question together. So it says, write the equation for the nth term of the sequence 4, 7, 10, and 13. And we worked with this yesterday, but we're going to do something a little different today. So this is where you guys are going to need to take notes and pause the video as we go along. So the first thing you're going to do, step 1, is write down the formula. Pause it if you need to. Step 2 is find your a and d. So a is our first term, which is 4, and d is our common difference because we're adding by 3 to get to each term in the sequence. So the a is 4, a sub 1 is 4, and d is 3. Step 3 is we're going to fill those numbers for a and d into the formula. But remember, we're not changing n, we're keeping n this time. So we're going to replace the a with 4, a sub 1 with 4, and the d with 3. And then the step 4 will be to simplify. So simplify means first we're going to distribute. So when we multiply 3 times n, we're going to get 3n. When we multiply 3 times -1, we get -3. So we should bring down the 4, and we get 3n minus 3 after that from distributing. And then the next step would be to combine your like terms. So 4 and -3, or 4 minus 3 is 1. So when you combine the like terms, you're going to get 1 and you bring your 3n down. So this is just what we call a general rule for the equation for the nth term, or just another way to find a term in a sequence. So this is something that you also have to know for the regents. So make sure that you can figure out how to find a rule for each term in a sequence. Again, it's just another equation of a line. So flip it over. We're going to work on the next page. And we're going to look at page in the packet. We're going to try one more together, and then you guys are going to try some on your own on Google Forms. So here's the next one, the guided practice. In the arithmetic sequence 20, 17, 14, and 11, determine the formula for a sub n, the nth term of the sequence. So again, follow the steps that are in the packet. Step 1, write down the formula. Step 2, find your first term, a sub 1, which is 20, and your common difference, which in this case is -3 because it's going down, it's decreasing. Step 3 is we replace the a sub 1 with 20 and the d with -3. So pause it if you need to copy this down. Step 4 is simplify. So simplify means we're first going to distribute -3 to n and to -1. When you multiply -3 to n, you get -3n. And when you multiply -3 to -1, you get +3. Make sure you're using your calculator when doing these calculations. So you get -3n plus 3. You bring the 20 down. And now your last step is to combine like terms. 20 and 3, it's +3 this time, is going to give you 23. And you bring your 3n down. And then the 20 plus 3 is 23. So there is your equation for the nth term of the sequence. Again, it's just there to help you generate any term that you want to plug in for. If you wanted to find the 20th term, you would just plug 20 in for n. It's just another alternate way, but you also need to know how to write this explicit rule. All right, so hopefully this made sense. And if it didn't, just rewatch the video or email me. And you guys are going to practice some on your own on the Google Forms. So make sure to pause this video and make sure you get all the notes down that you need for this part of the packet. And then once you've taken down all the necessary notes, please go back to the Google Classroom, complete the Google form on explicit rules. They're the same questions that are in the packet, but in just a digital form. Okay, have a great day, guys.